Sekejap
Okay.
entire screen. Okay, I hope you can see my screen right now, kan?
Yeah,
Can.
yeah.
All
We
right.
can see
Okay.
clearly. Okay.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Elvin from Emerald Publishing. I am the business manager taking care of the Malaysia and Singapore territory. And if you need to contact me further after this session, right, my email address is on the screen right now. You can take a photo of it or you can write it down. Later, if you have any questions that you can ask me. Okay. So, first of all, I think we need to understand the objectives of today's session. I'll go through the publishing process, that's the first part of it. And then I'll also provide information and recommendations on do's and don'ts of publishing and how to publish with Emerald, and also how to encourage you to write, submit, and get it published. All right, especially in Emerald Publishing, because this session is not only about publishing with Emerald, it's also the guidelines that I provide or the tips that I provide actually applies to some other publishers as well. It's just a general guideline. Okay, so without further delay, let me start something about Emerald first. For those who are not familiar with Emerald, actually, Emerald is a UK-based publisher, and as you can see, we are one of the leading publisher in the area of business and social sciences. In terms of portfolio, we handle more than 300 plus journals already, and more than 4,000 books in our portfolio, with over 3,000 case studies as well. Okay, if you look at the year that we are founded in 1967, and we have more than 50 years of publishing history in the industry already. All right. Something to take note of for everyone is if you look at the sought after, we are one of the most sought after databases because every year we do have 50 million downloads by the how do I say it? By the users of our platform. Okay. Some facts on Emerald Publishing journals. Out of our 300 plus journals, right, 287 actually have an impact factor already. And if you look at the percentage, 92% of all our titles, journal titles, already have a journal impact factor. The top performing journal that is with Emerald is the Journal of Research in Interactive Marketing, okay, with an impact journal of 9.6. 22 journals have an impact factor more than 5. And if you look at the right hand side, these are the top 5 ranked journals in JCR for Emerald. Okay. And over to Scopus on the left, bottom left. If you look at Scopus Site Score report on based on 2023, 97%, almost all of our Emerald Publishing journals are actually ranked in Scopus already. Okay, so this will give you a general idea of how well Emerald journals are ranked in the ranking matrix around the world. Okay, so Emerald Insight, this is where the platform is. Let's say if you want to look for our journals and contents. All right, I'm sure the library, the Unimap library, has informed or have shown how to access to the databases, especially to Emerald Insight. You'd have to go to the library portal, log into your profile via your authentication method, and then it will come to Emerald when you search online databases. Okay. So in terms of subject area, Emerald actually consists of 13 subject areas, and we are considered one of the leading specialist publisher because if you look at the subject areas that we have, 13 here, most of them are actually related to management and social sciences. That's why when you mention Emerald Publishing's name to any senior researchers or professors, right, when they hear Emerald Publishing, they will say, oh, is one of the specialist publisher or leading specialist publisher in the area of management and social sciences. Okay, and at the moment, out of the 13 here, 5 actually have access fully by the library, and the others are partially lah. So if you want to know more about the access, get to the library, talk to the library. They will inform you on the subject areas that's being subscribed. Okay. We are proud to also say that all our journals, right, are double blind peer reviewed or double anonymous peer reviewed. There's no exception. All our journals are double blind peer reviewed and is supported by more than 15,000 of EAB members, editorial advisory board members. Okay, to maintain the quality and also to maintain the integrity of the research papers. Okay. Something to highlight, this is something new to Emerald Publishing in the year 2026. It's coming soon. All right, just showing you an overview. We have recently acquired now publishers who have foundation and trends journals. All right, total there will be about 28 journals that will come into the platform when you search later on. And the area of coverage, it covers in the area of business, accounting, finance, economics, new topics or trends like AI, data science, robotics, and also engineering as well. Okay, so there are 10 journals from the business and economic side, and there will be 18 journals from the computer science, engineering, and technology side. I will believe the 18 journals here, which is very well related to Unimap's programs. Okay, so if you look at the programs in Unimap, I believe you have topics like AI, data science, robotics, HCI, computer graphics, programming, cognitive science, and electric energy systems. These are all in the area that's being covered in the Foundations and Trends Computer Science Technology portfolio. Okay, more information will be provided later on. All right, coming to publishing with Emerald. How much do you think if you want to publish with Emerald? Okay, can you give a guess? Quick one. Okay, if you have a amount or the amount of APC that you need to pay, this is the amount, right? Actually, if you want to publish with Emerald, actually is free. All right, we don't charge you any publication fee unless you want it to be in open access. Okay, if you choose to publish your paper in open access in one of our hybrid or gold journals, Emerald's APC rate is single flat rate, which is £3,040, right, or 4,105 US dollars. Okay, so you need to ask yourself whether you need to pay to publish open access or not. If it's not a requirement with Unimap, then actually you can choose to publish with Emerald for free under the normal tradition subscription paywall. Okay, so where to publish with Emerald? So we have three venues actually for you to publish your work. We're going to concentrate mostly on the journals area. We have journals, books, and case studies. Okay, so under the journals, like I mentioned just now, 97% of our journals are Scopus Index already. Free to publish in any normal issue, unless you want to publish in open access, then it'll be £3,040. All right, for books, again, it's Scopus Index, free to publish as a normal book. But if you want it to be open access, there's a PC for books, which is £6,000. All right, or 9,000 depending on the length of the book. Last one, case studies. It is also a Scopus Index collection if you publish there, and it's free to publish as well. But there is no open access on case studies at the moment. Okay. So we actually have directly under Emerald, we have 313 subscription journals for 2025. So out of that 2025, 296 is actually indexed in Scopus, which is 97%. How many you think will be in Scopus 1, Scopus 2, Q3, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4? Okay, I can tell you right now, majority of Emerald's journals indexed in Scopus, they are in Q1 and Q2. All right, so if you look at it, 247 out of 313 is almost like 80% already, right? Of our journals are actually indexed in Scopus Q1 and Q2. So quite good quality journals out there. Okay, so if you want to, if your research or if you need to publish in any journals that is indexed in Scopus, I believe most of the journals in Emerald will suit your criteria. Okay. Something to add on, we are also very supportive of the UN SDG goals. That's why Emerald is one of the first publishers to actually sign the Publishers Compact on SDG, which means, right, we will map, in layman terms, lah, we will try to map all our publications from now on to any of the 17 UN SDG goals. Okay, so if your paper, if you just to give you a tip right now, if your paper, if you want to publish your paper with Emerald, for example, if you can relate your paper or research to at least one or two UN SDG goals, that will make your paper more appealing. All right. Okay. In terms of Emerald goals, we also have come up with our own SDG goals, which is the five you're looking at right here: fairer society, healthier lives, responsible management, quality education for all, sustainable structures and infrastructures. These are some tips or guidelines to you. Let's say if you are doing something on responsible management, if you look at responsible management, the bottom of the UN SDG goals, we actually have seven, oh, sorry, two, four, six, eight UN SDG goals related to responsible management. Okay, so try to relate some of the UN SDG goals to the paper that we provide. If your paper is related to responsible management, then try to tie in one of the eight UN SDG goals into your paper. Okay, all right, I'll show you more examples later on. Okay, moving on to books, we actually have more than 4,000 books from Arrow, and recently we acquired 3,000 more. That's why if you look at the business and management area, we have 2,000 plus ebooks. And if you look at education and social sciences, this is where the bulk of the ebooks comes right now. More than 4,500 ebooks coming in from the education and social sciences area. Okay. Um, Case studies, I think Unimap have access to certain case studies because I think quite some time ago they did purchase some case studies from Emerald. So when you search your platform later on for Emerald contents, you'll be able to search some case studies as well. Okay, this is just to give you some uh, overview of our contents. Okay, looking at the publishing journey, let's start off with some publishing journey common keywords and terms that you need to understand. For those who have not published before, some of these keywords are very important because sometimes people might ask you, oh, what is the stage of your publication? Is it peer reviewing, or is it on dissemination stage, or is it on submission stage? You need to know and understand the cycle, how it works. Basically, it starts with a research paper, then you select your publication, write your research, you move on to submission stage, and after submission, you go to peer reviewing. Peer reviewing is where all the reviewing is done by the editors and also the reviewers on your paper. So if your paper is okay, you move on to the publication stage. Publication stage, you also need to know, like, for example, people will ask you, oh, if it's in the publication stage, how long is going to be published online? How long is going to be available in issues or the hard copy type, for example. Okay, and then after publication, you go to dissemination. Dissemination is where you uh, promote your paper or promote your work to the community so that you get more downloads, get more citations, and possibly get more co-authorships in the future. Okay, and the last one that we want to concentrate is impact. What impact you actually have made from your research paper? Okay, a lot of people measure impact, for example, like, oh, if a lot of people download and cite my paper, it creates an impact. But that doesn't end there. Those are traditional impacts. What Emerald is trying to advise our authors is try to think of something like real impact. All right, real impact that changes the lives of people, or changes policies of the government, or changes the way things work. These are real impact. When people read your paper, they'll find, oh, this research actually will help me to improve the policies of certain policy making in the company, in the lives, or in the government, for example. These are all considered real impacts. Okay, so if you want to be an Emerald author, try to consider some of these impacts as well. Okay, so Malaysia as a publishing landscape. All right. Okay, before I go further, because I don't have access to the chats, so if you have any question, please type into the chat, and I will look at it later. Because while I'm presenting, I can't um, see the chat room. Okay, so Malaysia as a publishing landscape, if you look at the graph that we have on the screen right now, every year the number of publications is getting higher and higher. All right, this is due to, I think, the criteria that's being set up by the universities that postgrad students, especially in the PhD area, you will need to have your paper published before you can graduate. And I think it applies the same for UNIMAP as well. If you're in postgrad, so definitely you need to publish before you can graduate. That's why you look at the number of publications actually is going up year on year. Okay, in terms of by criteria on publishers, all right. If you look at Emerald, which is the brown, dark brown or dark green, okay, we are in the area of reaching more than 1,000 publication a year from Malaysia, all right. And of course, if you look at other publishers like Elsevier or Springer, definitely they have more because, for example, Emerald have 300 plus journals, right? How many journals does Elsevier have? If you know, I can tell you right now, Elsevier have more than 3,000 journals in their collection. So when there are more journals in your portfolio, definitely more people will publish there. So if you look at the market share, um, Elsevier have close to 9,000 plus publications per year, and Emerald have 1,000 plus because we have 3,000 articles, 300 journals only. So if you look at the market share, 10%, we are almost there. Okay. Just to give you an idea of Unimap as well, all this information is through Dimensions AI. If you look at the screen, the bottom left, we exported it. I just exported it this morning. And the number of publications in Unimap, for example, the highest point, I think 2021, where you have more than 1,500, 1,600 publications. And last year, I think you all reached 1,100. And the previous year, 1,300 plus. So there are ups and downs, all right? But every year is more than 1,000 for the last 5 years. Okay. In terms of publishers, of course, again, Emerald is there. In Unimap, I think every year we have about 20 publications from Unimap. Okay, and if you look at the number of publications from other publishers, also the highest last year was from Springer. Okay, we have 200 plus papers from Springer, which is very natural because a lot of your papers are in sciences. And Springer Nature, for example, and Elsevier, they have a lot of publications in journals in the area of sciences. Okay, so why publish? Why publish? When we ask our authors, right? When we ask yourself, for example, you yourself, you have to ask why you need to publish. Okay, our authors, when we ask them, 85% says peer recognition, 80% peer says career advancement, 70% says subject development, and 50% says promotion purposes. All right. Why you need to understand where your motivation is, because in terms of my perspective, for example, where is your motivation will depend where you want to publish. Okay, for example, if I'm just a student, all right, what is my criteria, what is my motivation for publication? I just want to publish to get myself graduated, right? So as long as I publish at an area or journal that meets the criteria, for example, index in Scopus, then it's good enough. All right. And it's my first paper as well, for example. I don't have experience, I don't know the process. So I would advise you to choose a journal, for example, when you're choosing a journal for students. Choose a journal that meets your criteria, for example, index and scopus. No matter it's Q1, Q2, Q3, or Q4, as long as index and scopus, you choose that journal which is not the highest rank, I would say, for first time, to get the experience, to get the process, to understand how the publishing process goes. Okay, why we don't advise you, but if you want to, you may go for it lah. Huh? If you want to go to the highest rank journal, but why we usually don't advise postgrad students to go for the top ranked journal straight away, is because, um, like I said, you lack experience and you don't understand the process well, and most likely you get rejected if you publish at the top ranked journal at the first time. Okay, and also because it's top ranked journal, a lot of people, I would say researchers, would want to publish there. So you'll be competing with a lot of top ranked researchers or top ranked papers straight away. And for yourself, you don't have the experience. Okay, unless you are very, very confident and your supervisor said, don't worry, just go for it, then you go for it. Okay, but what about that's how you select your journal for postgrad students. But what about researchers, early career researchers? You want to go for the journal that is the correct content, the correct aims and scope, and the correct criteria for you. Okay, these are some of the things that I'll go through later on. Okay, when you select a journal, we consider selecting a journal as an investment decision. Why? Because you need to spend some time to do your homework, spend time to do some research on how the paper reputation is, what is the likelihood of acceptance, is it internationally recognized, what is the time from submission to publication. You need to check for all this information. Okay, I'll teach you how to check later on. And also, you need to know, are rankings important to you? You see, like I mentioned just now, is the ranking important to you? Is it you have to go for the top rank, or you can go actually for lower rank Q3, Q4, okay? Or just Q2 also can. Okay, open access. Do you have an open access mandate? Does your faculty tells you, oh, Elvin, you must publish open access? All right. If you don't have this criteria or mandate, then you are free to choose, right? Whatever journal that you want to publish. All right. So what is the checklist that you need to go to when you're selecting your journal? Okay. Things to consider, like I mentioned just now, readership, how many people read. You need to publish at a place where a lot of people will read. You need to check the subject coverage. You need to have international or global focus. What is the time frame and what is the likelihood of acceptance? Okay, the checklist is here. Identify potential journals. How do you identify? By making a shortlist. For example, you target, let's say, for about 5 journals. All right, for example, don't make too much, but be realistic. Right, target 3 to 5 journals that you want to go to. All right, after targeting that 5, you learn about the journal. What do you learn about the journal? You go through the aims and scope, understand what do they want, whether your paper is suitable for them or not. Check the editorial team. Who are the editors? Who are the advisory board members? Maybe you can get some advice from them on your paper as well. And once you have targeted the journals, that's why when you have a subscription with a publisher, for example, now Emerald, right? You read at least 1 or 2 recent issues. You go to the website, check with the library. Let's say you want to check for Emerald journals, for example. Lah. Check with the library how to access with Emerald. Once you're at the website, check for the journal that you are targeting. Read at least 1 or 2 issues of the recent publication. Then you will learn more about the journal. For example, how does people structure their paper? What are the trends and topics that people are targeting in this journal? Then at least you can improve on your paper. By reading 1 or 2 issues of the recent publication, you definitely read or learn something, because you will see how successful publication other people have published recently. Okay, maybe there are some trends and topics that you want to identify, that you want to put into your paper as well. Okay, next thing, follow the author guidelines. Make sure the guidelines, you have read through it and follow fully all the guidelines. Don't follow half and don't follow half. All right, make sure you follow all the guidelines, including type of paper, format and word count, submission method, referencing style, and publication ethics guide and guidelines as well, on publication ethics as well. Okay, After that, you send an outline to the editor and include a cover letter. It can be combined into one. All right. Why? Why do you need to send an outline to the editor? For example, when you've checked the editorial team, you know the editor already. Who are they? And usually they provide the email address. You actually can send an email to the editor, get some connection going on. You can ask questions like, "Hi, editor. This is my summary of my paper that I want to submit to your journal. Does it look suitable?" Ask this basic question, like spend like 5 minutes to draft the email and send to the editor. Don't send the full paper. Don't send the full paper. Maybe you just send a summary or the abstract of your paper to your targeted editor and see what is their reply. If they tell you, "Oh, Elvin, your paper looks suitable, please submit to our journal," then it gives you confidence to submit to that journal. If the editor replies to you and say, "Hi, Elvin, your paper does not look suitable. Please look for another journal," then at least from your shortlist, like 3 to 5 journals just now, right? If they say no, then you cut out that one. No, don't submit to that one already. Then you focus on the other 3 to 4 remaining. All right. Then you decide which one you want to submit. Okay. So to show an example, all right, of this checklist. Okay. For example, here. This is our platform. Okay, so if you don't know how to access to Emerald, please check with the library. So usually when you log into Emerald, when through your library portal, right, you will see here not registered, but University Unimap lah. The word Unimap here, University Malaysia Police is registered here. Okay, right now it shows you registered because I have not signed in anything. Okay, for example, let's say if I sign into my own account lah, just an example only lah. Okay, right, so that I can show you the access. You see, now it's under staff account. So when you sign in through your library portal, it will show you Unimap here. Okay, for example, let's say I want something on marketing strategy lah. I've already keyed in here, and I just click search. Okay, so if you look at the results here on marketing strategy, it will show you the first few results, right? Is the journals that related to marketing strategy keyword. All right. Let's say, for example, I want to look for this journal. Okay. You can click about the journal here on the right. I'll open in a new tab so it's easier for you to see. All right. Again, for those who did not see this, under the about your journal, you click on this button here, and then you come to this page. All right. So overview. Right now we're looking at the overview, and you can see the aims and scope. Remember just now I mentioned once you targeted your journal, let's say 3 to 5, you go through the aims and scope. Look at what they are looking for. All right. They'll tell you what are the topics that they're looking for here. Okay. All right. After reading the aims and scope, if you feel that is suitable, what is the next step? You remember or not? All right. Go through the editorial team list. Okay. Under the overview, after that, you should have the guideline and the editorial board member. Check for the editorial board member. Where are they from? These are the 2 editors. All right. You might want to email to them to ask, for example, for the send an outline to the editor. Check whether your paper is suitable or not. You can, right? And then you might also want to check the index and matrix here. Is it index in Scopus? Is it have an impact factor as well? So you will see it here as well. Okay. Under the index and matrices, for example, if you scroll down further, you will see here what is the acceptance rate, 13.5% for the last 12 months lah. And also, what is the time from submission to the first decision, 120 days, roughly about 3 months lah. And also acceptance to publication is about 1 month, 1 month plus lah. Right? This is the publication timeline that you need to check as well. Because sometimes you might wonder, how long does it take for them to respond to you? Right? At least you have an idea how long it takes, so you won't have that anxiety to wait. Or after 1 month, why they haven't replied me? After 2 months, why they haven't replied me? Because they will take on average about 3 months to reply you on your first decision. Okay, all right. And then you can check for guidelines here as well. This is another thing on your checklist. Read through all the guidelines here, especially on the new one, is especially on the, oh, sorry, especially on the Emerald policy on AI usage. So because there's a lot of AI tools right now, some of you might be asking, what AI tools can I use and what AI use I cannot use, and what I need to declare. You need to put in, or you need to read through here as well. Okay. Another thing to focus on your guidelines is, let me scroll down, sorry, is your manuscript requirements. Okay, all your format, all your details of the papers, you have to check the requirements here. Okay, there's one more area I need you to check as well. Is on your abstract. We call it structured abstract. For example, let's say I choose any article, latest article here. I just click on one of them. Okay, just to show you an example. All right, you see, this is the abstract, the first line. After the details, the first line is always the abstract or the summary. If you look at the abstract of Emerald, what do you think it looks like? It's a structured abstract. It's by point form. All right, or for example, it's like point form. Once you read on it, you know what is the purpose, what is the finding, what is the result, research implications. Okay, all our articles, show you another example. All our articles, right, are relate or using the same format. You see, this is the online format. What about the PDF format? I'll open another tab for you to see. Okay, enlarge a little bit. Okay. You see, this is the abstract. So it's very clear cut. And why a lot of users download our paper every year, more than 50 million every year, is because of this unique uh, style of abstract. So if you want to publish with Emerald, for example, you need to follow this kind of abstract as well. And we provide the abstract, structured abstract information or guideline here on how you need to write it. Like, oh, sorry, again, my mouse, something wrong. Okay, so we even have a link here on how to write an abstract or structured abstract here. I'll open a link for you to see. Okay, all right, it teaches you how to write a structured abstract. Okay, I'll share this link with you for those who are interested in publishing with Emerald, so that you will know where to find the structured abstract later on. Okay, all right, go back to the top. Let's see what else have I covered. Target, how to check for journals, how to look at the aims and scope, editorial team, guidelines, send an outline to the editor. Okay, I've covered already. Okay, for those who missed out, maybe I show you all again in our homepage just now. Just now I used this area, right, to search. Let's say I don't have any keywords. I want to look at all the journals. I just click on the journals button up there, right? And then you see what are the journals that we have. Okay. For example, just click on search here. You will automatically go to all the journals, or I can click on view all journals here. Then you'll see what are the journals that we have. All right, by point form. For example, let's say I want something on engineering, since Unimap have a lot of engineering, right? Let's say I want something on engineering, construction, and architectural management, for example, this journal. I just click on it, and then I can right click on about the journal. It will lead me to the web page. All right, it will lead me to the web page that has the aims and scope, author guidelines, editorial members, and also the index and matrix, scopus, and perfector. Okay. Alternatively, like remember just now, if you remember in my slide, read at least one or two issues. This is where you can find it here just now. All right. Latest publication, like I've been clicking just now. These are all latest publication you can read. You can also read the most downloaded article, or you can also read what is the most cited article recently. That will give you an idea, okay, on how to publish at this journal. See, this one are very close to us. The significant factors of causing delay on building construction projects in Malaysia. Where are the authors from? UPM, UPM, UPM. Okay, all right. So we have quite a lot of authors actually from Malaysia as well for Emerald. Okay, so this is where you can read the latest articles here. All right. Okay, back to my slides. Okay, so far okay. Any questions from the floor? Let me check and see. Ada, ada kan? All right. If you have any questions, please type it into the chat room. I'll come to you later on. Let me just close some of this. Okay. All right. Okay, excuse me. Let me drink some water. Okay, next section is how to avoid desk rejection. Okay, so when you submit your paper, you need to understand uh, how papers are being accepted or being reviewed or being filtered. I would say being filtered lah, at this stage. Um, if you look at the code, right, many papers are rejected simply because they don't fulfill journal requirements. They don't even go into the review process. What does this code means? It means that, for example, let's say I submit a paper. When I submit, right, there's a person called the content editor. He's like a gatekeeper, you know. He'll filter your papers, go through whether you follow the format, whether you follow the guidelines, whether your paper is suitable or not by the aims and scope. If you do not fulfill any of these criteria, this content editor will reject you straight away. It's called a desk rejection. Okay, your paper does not even go to the reviewing stage. Okay, your paper is not going to be even sent for review. So if it's not sent for review, you will not even get feedbacks on your paper. All right, if your paper is passed through the desk rejection, it will go to editor and reviewers for reviewing, right? So even if after reviewing is rejected, you still get some comments on how to improve your paper further on. But if it's desk rejection, no, you won't get any comments. You will just get a desk rejection because you don't follow guidelines. To me, I feel this is very important because you need to avoid this one. So that if you, because you spend some time already to do your paper, evaluate the journal that you want to submit to, and when you submit, you get rejected, don't even get a reply on the reviewing process on how to improve. So I feel that you're wasting a lot of time. So try to avoid this step, avoid desk rejection. Okay, how do you avoid? Like for example, I mentioned just now, identify the right journal. All right, don't just look for the title of the journal. Look at the aims and scope. Very, very important. If your aims and scope is what they want, right, then they will most likely won't reject your paper on desk rejection. Read at least one or two issues, like I mentioned just now, because when you read, you understand how people put their paper to be more attractive, how to structure your paper. Okay, because those are successful case studies that you can read on it. Author guidelines. Make sure all the guidelines are met. If you don't meet any guideline, they will be desk rejected as well. Find out where to submit. Some people, right, they submit wrongly, right? They don't find out where to submit. And up to this day, some people are still using email to submit. So definitely you will not be entertained and that's rejected law. All right. So for Emerald, we are using Scholar One. Okay. If you want to submit to Emerald, this is the button that you can always see. I think I have missed out just now. Yeah. This is the, go back one page. Let's say this is a journal that I select, for example, right under here, emerging materials research for materials engineering. You can actually submit to this journal here by clicking on this button. All right, it will lead you to the web page straight away. Okay, even if I choose another one, for example, I choose a business or related facilities, for example. Okay, when I click on submit, you see, you go to Scholar One manuscript and you need to log in lah. You need to create an account as well. And if you are not familiar, don't worry because all the guidelines are provided here. Okay, you can download the FAQs and user guides here and instructions here. All right. Okay. So follow the instructions. It's very clear cut. Okay. Send. You see how to avoid dash rejection. Send an outline or abstract. That's why I mentioned in one of my checklists to the editor to check with them whether your paper is suitable, or you can explain to the editor, convince them why your paper is important to the journal, how it can improve the journal. If they accept your paper, you need to convince lah, do some marketing there as well lah. Right? That's why in your email to them, try to make it simple and nice to attract them to take note of your paper that you're going to submit there. Okay. So polishing your work is one of the stage that you need to do as well, because we find out from a lot of comments from reviewers and also editors, right, that they have discovered there are a lot of papers, right, they didn't do final or checking on proofreading. Okay, they find a lot of incorrect grammar, spelling, punctuation, any content that's not accurate in terms of maths and stats. References are not complete. These are some of the things that they don't do correctly. And most of the time, right, I understand why they have a frustration on this, because sometimes your paper might be good, your content might be good, but because of all this inconsistency, right, or you did not do any polishing of your work, they might reject your paper, because to them is this author is not even putting in effort to improve your outlook of your paper. So why must I accept your paper, for example, right? I can just dash reject or give you a review and reject, ask you to redo everything. So to us is, to me lah, in my perspective, why you want to reach to that stage. Before you submit, why not you do some proofreading and avoid being asked to revise and resubmit again. Okay. One step that I feel that is very effective in polishing your work is, if you look at the last point, show your draft to someone else, a fresh pair of eyes who have not looked at it. What does it mean? Get someone you can trust or you can rely on, and you give them your paper. All right. For example, go for a coffee and ask your friend, "Hi, Elvin, can you help me to look at my paper? I want to submit this paper already, but I want your help to read through it. Any comments that you can give me?" Okay. So after reading, right, most likely lah, if I have not read your paper lah, this is the first time I'm reading it, most likely I can detect some incorrect grammar or spelling or something lah, something that's wrong with the paper. Because why this will happen is because you yourself, you have been looking at your paper for so many times, maybe in the last 2 3 months. Most likely all these small errors, right, you might overlook. Right, it's always better to get someone who have not looked at your paper before, and they can point out these mistakes or small little errors for you. Okay. All right. We also partner with Editage that offers author services. Of course, these are paid services lah, so if you have the budget, you have the money to check, then you can send them for online proofreading lah. Okay. So the publication process, you need to understand as well, why is it taking so long? All right. Sometimes you might ask, why my paper takes so long? The editor is not doing his work, is it? Or the reviewers are not doing his work, is it? Actually, no. If you look at the publishing process and you understand it, right, it makes sense why it takes so long. Okay. For example, in an ideal scenario lah, just an average scenario lah, when we receive your paper, right, it will take 2 weeks for the authors, for example, for the reviewers, for example, to do a desk review. Okay. Let's say if you follow the submission aims and scope, if you follow the guidelines, then they will pass on for the editor's check. Okay. And once it's passed on to the editor's check, they will assign 2 reviewers. So assigning reviewers, sometimes it takes time as well. You will give an average of 2 to 4 weeks, because sometimes reviewers are not always available. All right, then we will look. The editor will need to look for the reviewers. That will take 2 to 4 weeks. Once the reviewers are found, okay, Emerald will need at least 2 or 3 reviewers. Once the reviewers are found, they will be given 4 to 8 weeks to review your paper. And once they submit back to the editor will take about 2 weeks to make a decision. Okay, if you look at this stage, right, from desk review, assigned reviewers, reviewer turnaround, and editor's decision, average is about 3 months already. Okay, so if let's say the editor asks you, oh, please revise and resubmit, you take another 4 to 12 weeks depending on how many times you are being asked to revise. So on average, right, you need to prepare at least 3 to 6 months in advance for a paper to be accepted and published. Okay, all right. Like I mentioned just now, why is it taking so long? Is also depending on the variables like number of submissions. When the title or the journal is a top ranked journal, naturally a lot of people want to submit there and there will be a lot of submissions. So you have to take turns. The queuing system have to take into the picture lah. Like why that's why in the first session when I mentioned just now, right? If you're a postgrad student, you need to think about whether you want to submit at a really, really top ranked journal because it will take a long time for publication. And as a postgrad student, you don't have the luxury of time. You need to have a time frame to publish to get yourself graduated, right? So give that a thought on the journals that you're selecting. All right. If you are a senior researcher, you have all the time in the world, you don't have to worry, then you go for the top ranked journals. Okay. So reviewer availability, reviewer response also takes into consideration. Some reviewers are fast, some reviewers are slow. All right. Some reviewers, if you give them the paper, even though you give them 4 to 8 weeks, like we mentioned here, in 2 to 3 weeks, they will reply to you and say, oh, yeah, I've reviewed this, my comment. So editor will take note of it. Then the process will be faster. Okay, that's why I've seen some cases where authors have come back to me. Hey, Elvin, email to me. Last month I submit one paper. In 4 weeks, they re-inform me the paper has been under the review already. So it gives them a confidence to say that, oh, it will be very fast. Okay, so this happens also. Sometimes it depends on the time of the reviewers or editors, how fast they push your paper up. Okay, so peer review process. You need to understand as well what is the stage of the peer review. Okay, like I mentioned just now, there's only 3 results of your peer review process. It's either rejected, which is the purple one, accepted, which is the green one, and revised, which is the orange one, orange color here. So I think reject and accept is quite straightforward lah. Okay, so revision, revise here. Do you think when you are asked to revise is a good news or a bad news? When you are asked to revise, actually is a good news. It's actually a very good news. Okay, for those who are not sure lah, because think about it. If me, I am the editor. If I don't want your paper, do you think I will ask you to revise or not? No, I'll straight away reject. If I ask you to revise means, oh, this paper is good. I want it into my journal, but they have to revise and improve on certain things. That's why they ask you to revise. So you're already halfway into the acceptance stage already. Okay, so follow the requirements, what they ask you to revise, and do a revision and send back to the editor. Okay, so usually they will be sent back to the same reviewers to see what you have revised. And then if everything is done, then you'll be accepted and get it published. Okay, so request for revision. Some of you might ask the more common question, so many things to change. If I don't change, can or not? Well, I would say if you don't change, then most likely they will reject your paper law if they ask you to change if you don't change, because the objective of the revision is to make your paper more suitable or more aligned to the journal's aim and scope. Okay, but there are also cases where, let's say, there are certain things where they ask you to change and you don't agree. You actually can explain why you don't want to change to the editor by providing facts and figures lah. Don't just say, "Oh, I don't want to change because I don't want lah." It's just I don't want to bother myself with so many time and effort to change again. No, if you explain why you don't change because of this, because of that, you give some explanation, and if the explanation is accepted, right, the editor will actually have how do I say, better impression of you. For example, oh, this Elvin guy, he actually does his research. What he explained is true, so it's acceptable. So next time, right, I might want to, if I'm editor, I might invite you to be in my editorial board member so they can review papers for us. That's how you can become a reviewer. Okay, all right. So if you disagree, you can also explain why. There are do's and don'ts of doing it lah. Okay. When you're doing your revision, consult with your co-authors or colleagues if you have, clarify any understanding with them, and always meet the revision deadline. Okay. Try to also attach a cover letter, for example, to explain point by point what they have asked you to change. For example, use an Excel lah. Point one, which page, what you have changed. Point two, which page, what they have changed. Explain this and send back to the editor so that when they review your paper, they just concentrate on the areas that you have made changes. They don't have to read through all the full paper again. This will save time for them and save time for you. And for you, another advantage is you don't miss out on any area that they want you to change. Okay, so I have also encountered a comment from an editor that I asked an author to change three things, he only changed two. So one more I sent back to him to do a revision. So another 3 to 4 weeks wasted. Okay, so try to not waste time. Time is essential when you are publishing. Okay, when you want to publish. So if your paper is rejected, okay, this is the next stage of the paper. If your paper is rejected, you don't have to give up actually, and you need to know why it's rejected. So that's why it's important to get a desk review rejected paper because you get comments from the reviewers why. Okay, when you know why, try to avoid law. For example, some of the possible reasons for rejection, why your paper is rejected. Some are not following the guidelines, you see, the instructions. Some is not appropriate to the journal scope. Your paper does not fit into our aims and scope. And this is not what we're looking for. That's why we reject. Quality, I think that's very straightforward. Your paper is not good. The methodology is not good, then they will not accept. They will just reject. And if they feel the paper is not contributing to the journal or to the field, then they will just reject your paper. Okay, so now when you know these are the possible reasons, right, try to avoid these areas. Okay, so what makes a good paper? We did ask editors and reviewers what are they looking for actually when they're reviewing. So these are some of the key important areas that they always look for. All right, so if you know what makes a good paper in your paper, right, try to put some of these areas into it. Originality, definitely lah. Definitely originality is what they're looking for. They don't want something that's copy and paste, something that you just always use other people's information but not original information from yourself. Okay. um, Something to highlight is international or global focus. That's what they're always looking for. An example that I can give you a tip right now on global focus is UNSDG, for example. This is the topic that everyone is talking about. So if you can include some UNSDG into your paper, definitely it makes it more attractive, okay, compared to the others who is not doing it. Adherence to the scope and objectives of the journal is what they're always looking for as well. Title, keywords, and a well-written abstract. This is also an area that you need to spend some time and effort, which is on the next uh sorry which is on the next area. Okay, give me a moment here. What makes a good paper? Yeah, yeah. Okay. So How to make your paper more discoverable if it's a good paper. That's why the aims and scope is very important. And also, if you look at the first keyword, use a short descriptive title with some keywords. Write a clear and descriptive abstract with some keywords in it, and don't use jargons in your known keywords. All right. If you look at this one, right, why we ask you to do this to make your paper more discoverable or to make your paper look better. It's because, for example, like I in any websites right now, for example, when you do a search, maybe on AI, lah, for example, and data science, if you look at the algorithm right now, right, you see where does the keyword always appear right now? Title and abstract. Title and abstract. You see? Even if I go to journal articles, you see AI, AI. These are all the keywords I put in just now, AI and data science. They will always, you see, artificial intelligence, they will always appear in the title and abstract. Okay? That's why to make your paper more discoverable, you want people to discover your paper more easily, your keywords must be well known and is relevant. All right? Okay? And try to include the keywords into your title and abstract. Okay? This is how to make the paper more discoverable. Okay? Going back to the few pages just now. Okay, I think I've reached the ethics stage. So ethics, you also need to know the foundation or what is included in the ethics and integrity of publishing. Okay, for Emerald, I think we are quite straightforward. We do put in all our ethics and research integrity guidelines into the website. So just read through if you need to know what are the guidelines and ethics that you need to follow when you want to publish with Emerald. Okay. Some of the key highlights of examples are plagiarism, copyright. Okay, make sure you read through what is deemed copyright when you are an author. Okay, we also are a member, or I will believe I could say a lot of publishers out there, they are a member of COPE. COPE means the Committee on Publication Ethics. A lot of reputable journals, they are a member of COPE code. And one thing I want to highlight here is do not submit to more than one journal at one time and do not self plagiarize. Okay, these are two important areas where it's considered not ethical if you do it. Okay, so please bear that in mind. Emerald has been quite strict on research integrity lately because of all these incidents. You see, for Sage, they retract a lot of paper recently. Wiley also the same. This one is with one of the institutions in Japan, all right? And even Elsevier is not spared as well. Okay, that's why we would not want Emerald to appear in some of these retraction news. Okay, there's a website called retractionwatch.com. When you go in there, you'll see what are the papers that's being retracted recently. Okay, actually, Emerald also have it's just in a smaller scale. All right, sometimes when you look through our how do I say our results page, some papers you don't find the papers anymore, but there's a retraction notice because we find that the authors are not ethical enough, then they've breached the research integrity guidelines. So that's why we retract your paper. So once your paper is retracted, it does not feel good as an author because your name will be highlighted as one of the retracted authors previously. Okay? Try not to fall into that category. All right. So the next one is on tips on promoting your work. For example, you remember dissemination stage. How do you spread the news that your paper is published? Okay, a lot of people would think that a lot of conventional or traditional authors lah, they say, "Oh, I've published already, yay!" But you don't promote it. You stop there. So how do you get why? And then you ask yourself, why my paper is not being downloaded and why there's no citation? All right, it's because you didn't promote your work. All right, a lot of authors who have high citations, high H index authors, they all do a lot of promotion on their work. All right, some example that you look here, they use email signature to ask that people to click on the link. They share in their social media, Facebook, LinkedIn of any successful publication, so that you will let people know your paper has been published. Okay, and also the next one. Just now I have explained the first 3 points, but the last point here, how to make your paper more discoverable, is make sure your references are complete and correct. Why? Because once your references are complete, for example, let's say uh, I am an author, I write a paper already, and I have an audience for 10 authors who cited my paper, for example. Me as an author, I will be informed that there are 10 papers cited by previous article, all right? Because you reference or cite my paper, I'll be informed. Okay, so when I'm informed, right, definitely as a human behavior, I want to know, oh, who are the 10% who cited my paper recently? I go in and see. When I click on the article, I find the article good. If it's useful to me, in my next paper, I'll cite that article as well. If it's not useful for me, I will share it to someone in my community or my research network to say that, hi, this paper looks good. It might be useful for your research later on. So if the other people that I shared with, they find your paper very useful and attractive, they might cite your paper as well. So this will make it more discoverable, I would say. Okay, so try to think of some of these points when you're doing your paper. Okay, so how am I on time? Okay, 11:45 something. Why publish with Emerald? I think this is the next stage. Okay, if you want to submit to Emerald, why a lot of people, why we have so many authors submit to Emerald, why we have so many authors coming back publish again with Emerald, and why we are there to support them is because Emerald actually practices a lot of how would I say uh, how I'd say is motivation and also appreciation for our authors. Because, for example, right, every year we actually come up with awards like Outstanding Paper Award or Highly Cited Paper Award or Best Reviewer Award. We'll actually go to the institution in Malaysia, for example, and Singapore that I cover. We will acknowledge their work, present them with a certificate, and take a nice photo with them and share it with the community. All right, this will motivate them to write further or write the next paper or motivate other authors to write with Emerald. Because a lot of people might think, oh, Malaysia is a small country, our work is not known, not well known. But actually, no, our papers actually of good quality if we compare it to the rest of the world. A lot of papers in Malaysia averagely, lah, I would say averagely about, I've been with Emerald for 10 years. So averagely, every year annually, there are about at least 20 to 30 papers from the Malaysian authors getting high cited, highly commended, or outstanding paper. All right, if you can see all this, all right, all these papers that are presented over the years, these are just a fraction of it only. Okay, all right, all these are indicators that Malaysian authors are of good quality as well. Okay, these are some of the awards that I mentioned just now: the Literati Award and Real Impact Awards. Okay, and also case study awards as well. So further information and resources, actually you can get a lot of information from our Facebook. For example, why we choose Facebook? Because I think Malaysians, we are more using more of Facebook instead of those Twitter or other social medias lah. And why we ask you to follow our Facebook is because, for example, we do announce a lot of call for papers, special issues, call for papers, and we put it onto the website or not website, into the Facebook webpage to inform all our members. All you need to do is you just have to follow lah. Just click like on our Emerald East and Southeast Asia webpage. And then if there's any announcement, we'll put it, even becoming an editor-in-chief. If we are looking for editor-in-chief, if you have experience already, you want to try your luck to be an editor, you can actually write into us. We also share with our members those free webinars. If you look at the bottom right hand side, like webinars on cases, webinars on certain topics like AI, definitely we'll announce it, and all the links will be given there, provided there as well. Okay, so if you are free, just follow our Facebook. Make sure it's Emerald East and Southeast Asia, and not Emerald Publishing, because Emerald Publishing is managed by UK. So they don't have all these updates from the region. From the region, we use Emerald East and Southeast Asia so that all the latest updates from our region is available here. Okay. Some of you might want to be a reviewer or want to be contributing in the advisory board members. You can, if you want, to choose to. You can actually contact us, write to submissions@emerald.com or books@emerald.com. Okay, then you will get feedback from them if you're interested. Or if you want, just write to me as well. I can help you to look for the correct person in UK if you want to be involved in any of these roles lah. Okay. So yeah, Q&A. Any questions from the floor? Ada tak? Okay. If you want, you can unmute yourself and ask me as well. Let me stop sharing. Okay. All right. May I know if Emerald Publishing have specific template? Okay. If you talk about template, right? Template, we don't have a specific template, but that's where you can get the guidelines. For example, let's say I choose this journal, right? About the journal. We don't have a template, but a lot of people ask me, do we have a template? We don't have a template, but we do have a guideline here to show you how to structure your journal submission. All right. And also how do you structure your paper? How do you format your paper? All is here, available here. All right. There's no template. I'm sorry. But my advice is you can also get something like a template, I would say, by looking at certain articles. For example, when you read an article in PDF or in online format, you look on the article content. So you see introduction, literature review, second speech methodology, results, discussion. It's like almost quite similar, even if I open another one. Okay. I would say the template looks like quite similar. Let me see. Hold on. You see introduction again, and then depends on your what lah, structure, methodology, all right, conclusion and references. It depends on you. Okay, but in your manuscript, you see here, create a blueprint. You see, you need to have a description, chronological, and theme. What is the theme that you want to go through? Construct your article. Write your manuscript. You see, all this information is here. I can share this link with you so that you get more information here. Okay. So next one, what is your advice for postgraduate without a grant who needs to publish open access paper? Okay, without a grant, but you need to publish open access, right? We do have one section here. Okay, let me go to the homepage. Go to the homepage first. Okay, this is the homepage. All right. Click on open access here. Okay, scroll down. Let me see whether I can. Okay, scroll down. You see open access journals here. Okay, scroll down. You will see Diamond Open Access. Okay, this is our sponsored journals. Okay, I give you the link first before I forget. Okay, I give you this link. All right. Okay, open access, diamond open access. What journals are this? Okay, journals list view. I let you see detail view lah. Okay, here, these are all partner journals with Emerald. All right. For example, applied computing and informatics. Okay, if you look at it, this is the open access journal, and you don't need to pay APC. All right. Journal owners, they are owned by an institution usually. King Saud University in Saudi Arabia. All right. So these are all open access journals, and some of them are indexed already. So you need to check, all right? Like for example, Asian Association of Open University Journal. Okay, it's next in Scopus. Author guidelines overview is here. You see, this is an open access journal. You're not required to pay APC. All right. We have a total about, let me see if I can recall correctly, more than 70. More than 70 if you look at the list here. Okay. We have more than 70. Even business journals, learning journals is all here as well. Right. Okay. It depends on the topic that you're looking for lah. Alright, ada, memang ada punya. Alright, so you just have to click on this link. Okay, this is the next question. I've checked on several journals in JCR and found some journal is indexed in ESCE and SCIE. Alright, okay, the difference actually, I would say by the word itself, you see, Emerging Sources Citation Index. Emerging Sources Citation Index usually applies to newer journals. Those are like emerging journals that is upcoming, good quality one. New journals that's been indexed recently. Okay, SCIE, Science Citation Index expanded. It depends now because, for example, right, most of the journals, Emerald, you think you if you look at the journals, right, most of them are business and social sciences. So social sciences fall under the SSCI, Social Sciences Citation Index. Okay, but some of the sciences journals, they fall under the SCI, the Sciences Citation Index, right? So it's different. So it depends, I would say is the difference is just by the category, but as long as they're indexed in JCR, they are good journals already. Okay, it's just the different classification for the index. Okay, all right. Okay, let me see if I can show you any other journals. Hold on, hold on. Oh, okay, just hold on. I wanted to check on one journal. Okay, all right, about the journal, index and matrix. Yeah, okay. Okay, next question. Any more question? Oh, someone raised his hand, is it? Okay, yeah. Nur Maizatu. Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Elvin Cheah.
Yep.
I have two questions. The first one is the price is across all the journals?
Price for publication.
Publication, yes. The number two, let's say we publish for the not for the open access, and then suddenly after maybe 1 year we decided we want to make it in open access. Can we do that? Thank you.
Oh, okay. All right. First of all, the first question. If you want to publish open access, is one flat rate, which is 3040 lah, for all our Emerald journals. Okay, but if you don't want to be open access, it's free, so there's no payment. So that's very clear cut lah. Okay, um, for the second question, let's say once the paper is published, and after it's published, you want to make it open access. No, it's not possible. All right, that's why when your paper is accepted, they will ask you, do you want to go for normal publication or you want to go for open access publication? So you have to choose one already. So once you choose normal, you cannot go to open access after that already. Okay? All right? I hope that answers your question.
One more questions.
Mm,
Let's say we publish our paper in Emerald.
mm,
Let's say people are looking for our names in the Google Scholar.
mm, mm.
Can they still find our paper?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because all our journals are indexed, ma. And then even in Google Scholar, like for example, right, when they type your name, just an example, when they type their name into your search bar here, for example, let's say I know a person called Gary Tan, right, and I search here. Or even if you want, I can Gary Tan, Emerald, for example. You see, the journal will come up. Okay, and under here, under the normal Emerald journals, uh, any publication on Gary Tan, you see, you'll come out as well. Yeah, so don't have to worry lah. Emerald is quite, I would say, quite reputable publisher. All right, even though we only have 300 plus journals, but most of our journals are of good quality Q1 and Q2, like I mentioned in the slide earlier on. Okay, so don't have to worry. This one, yeah. Okay, thank you, Nor Maizato, for your question. Yep. How about others? Any question from others? Ada tak? Anything that you want me to repeat or I went too fast, please also let me know. Okay. Okay, kalau tak ada, don't worry. The next stage is this one. Okay, I actually prepared a certificate of attendance for from Emerald. Okay, so if you have your phone right now, you can actually click on the, how do I say, scan the QR code right now. You'll be diverted to a Google form, I believe, and then you just key in your name, your email address. Make sure your name and email address is correctly input. If not, we are not able to send to you. Okay, and then maybe your university or department. I forgot what are the criteria already. I think a few only. After you have submitted, I think in a few minutes in your email inbox, you receive the certificate already. Okay, and this QR code valids until, let me see, until when? Until today, I think. Okay, share it here. For those want to click on it. Okay. You can scan. Anyone successful already can let me know. Anyone has successfully got their certificate already?
Then Mr. Evans.
Yeah,
Then.
ada. If you're unable to scan, I actually put in the link on the chat. So for those who are unable to scan. So if you have got your certificate already, just give me a thumbs up, then we can move on. Okay, can we proceed to the last section? Yeah. Okay, good. Some of you have received the certificate already. Okay, good. Right, that it shows that it's working. All right. Okay, the next one, you don't have to take a picture. I will send this slide over to the library later. But if you want, you can also take a picture of this QR code. It actually consists of all our journals title listings. Let's say, for example, you want to look at the journals in hard copy format, right? We have all this here, or soft copy lah. We have all this here. So when you scan this QR code, it will actually lead you to a Google document that has all the brochures and the title listings for our products. Okay, so feel free to go in and have a look if you want to look at our journals title listing, right? Okay. Next one. If you have any questions to ask me and you are too shy to ask, maybe you can actually email to me. You can email to me in at emerald@emerald.com. Any questions lah? Read journals or regarding publication, or if you can't find anything, you need some guidance, just send me an email. Right? Don't have to worry. If I cannot help you, if I don't know, I will refer you to the person who can assist you. Okay. All right. So I think that's the last few slides. And if there's no more question, then I'll pass the floor back to the library lah. I hope the session has been useful for you. And let me know if you have any further questions. Okay. Stop presenting. Yeah. Okay. Back to you, the library. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Elvin, I think
Yeah.
there's one more questions from
Yeah.
Ahmad.
Yes, go ahead. Oh, one more question from the chat. Oh, okay, okay, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. What is Emerald's policy on resubmission after rejection, and can people be transferred between Emerald journals if they don't fit the original target journal? Okay, our policy on resubmission after rejection is you can still resubmit to the same journal if you are rejected, of course, after you have improved lah. All right, but you can also resubmit to another journal if you feel that the journal is suitable. All right, in Emerald, it depends on the editors. They do recommend you some other journals in their reply, but some don't. You can just go through the journals list again and see the aims and scope, see which is the next one lah. That's why when I mentioned in the slides just now, you have a short list of your target list, let's say top three lah. The first one rejected, then you go for the second one, no? Or the second rejected, you go for the third one. No? Okay, that's why you have a short list to save you more time. Okay, but I know what I can tell you right now is we do have a pilot project going on where we do recommend some journals once you are rejected. I know this because I've got an update recently from the UK team that they are starting to do this already. So on certain journals, when they rejected you, they do recommend you which other related journals to go for. Okay. Yep. Okay. Let me just double check everything I've answered. Yeah. Good. Okay. So if there's no more question, then I'll pass back to the library again.
Okay. I think that's all for today's session. It's very informative session, and I hope that all of us get as much as information and all the tips and tricks that are shared by Mr. Elvin on the on the platform itself, and also from the publishing step by steps, and what all of us would like need to be done, okay, to successfully publish with Emerald. So thank you so much, Mr. Elvin, for the time, for the
Thank you.
session, and also thank you so much for all the participants who for joining with us today. Thank you. Have a nice day to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking
Yeah.
forward for publication. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.